Episode
Episode 5. Yeah,
episode 5, episode 5, we episode live.
we are.
He's wearing a fucking Oilers jersey. You can't see this, ladies and germs, if you're not watching on YouTube, but he's wearing this absolute trash bucket jersey.
I I just wanted to wear this on the podcast this week for when the Oilers regain first place after beating your
You
relevant franchise twice
can't
over the weekend,
say
and we're in first place
regain.
again.
You can't say again or regain because you have yet to even sniff it this fucking season.
Did you guys win last night?
Yeah, we did.
And when I say you guys, the Toronto Maple Leafs, you did. Okay, so I
So a
haven't checked the
6 point
standings today.
gap,
You're
even
six
if you
points
win,
up.
doesn't mean shit. You ain't even sniffing.
This is how it's gonna go. The Oilers beat the Canucks tonight. The Oilers beat the Leafs on Saturday. The Oilers beat the Leafs on Monday, and the Oilers are in first place. Maybe.
Have you considered this? They lose tonight. They lose 2 games to the Maple Leafs. They are now fourth in the division, and Connor McDavid asks for a trade.
Shut the. I am so sick of Maple Leafs fans talking about Connor McDavid
Wants to
wanting
come
trade.
home.
That's literally the hackiest thing any sports radio host or sports radio show can talk about. If you go, are the Oilers wasting McDavid and Draisaitl's best years? That's like me if I were to go on my radio show and be like, can you wear white after Labor Day? Can you keep your Christmas lights up in January?
It's
Like,
National
it's got
Hot
to
Dog
that
Day.
point.
How do you take your dog?
Exactly. It's gotten to that point where it's just goddamn hacky.
It's because we know that they are wasting it, and we don't need to discuss it anymore.
It's not. It makes me mad because you aren't paying attention to the Oilers and you know so little about them that you just go to that topic.
There's too
It's a
many
fallback.
people.
It's lazy and it's a fallback.
There's too many people like you that are too close to the Oilers to see how truly bad that they are.
Are you out of your goddamn mind? They're second place in the North Division. They've won 10 of their last 12 games. They have depth scoring. They have depth on D. They have 2 elite NHL goaltenders.
Show me their depth on D. You're just saying phrases you've
No,
heard.
I'm not. We've played 9 defensemen this year. Like we have 3. We have Clefbaum out. We have
You've played 9 defensemen because you've had to play 9 defensemen because they don't have a steady 6.
and they're stepping up to the plate. We do. Clefbaum's out. Ethan Bear got in. I'm saying we played 9 because people got injured. No,
Doesn't
'cause
mean
people got
that you have
injured.
depth. It means that your lineup is all fucked.
No, okay. Ethan Bear gets injured. Slater Cuckoo gets injured. Oh no, another NHL franchise would panic. Oscar Clefbaum's out. What do we do? There's three mainstays on the Oilers blue line this year, or would be if Clefbaum played it all this year. The Oilers, do they panic? Do they lose? They do not, because they have defensive depth. A couple of rookies, but Evan Bouchard's been looking good.
A couple of if your defensive depth is people that are playing their first games in the NHL, I want you to think about the word depth and tell me if you know what it means.
By the way, I know the Leafs beat the Flames the other day, but I wanted to screenshot a text that you sent me a while ago and send it to you after their 3-0 loss to the Flames.
The Flames are so fucking bad.
No, you texted Muzzin broke that team. And didn't Muzzin get injured that game?
What game? Against the
Calgary?
Flames? No, it was the game before. He didn't even play. I was so disappointed because you knew that Matthew Tkachuk and Jake Muzzin was going to be the story of that game. He flipped the puck at Tkachuk. He goes crazy like a little baby. And then in the game before, they take on the Flames for the first time since that happened. Tyler Toffoli caught him with a follow-through and broke. Like, it's medically diagnosed with a broken face. He's
Really?
coming back with a full bubble on the weekend.
How's your defense been doing? How's that depth without Jake Muzzin?
Well,
Not so well. Having
Looking
some
pretty
trouble
good
scoring.
at the top of the league, I guess.
Having some
The
trouble
number
scoring. One
team-
goal in their last 2 games.
Number 1 team in the NHL.
That makes your mic sound worse when you go that close.
Number 1 team in the NHL.
Soon to be number 2 after this extended weekend.
That wouldn't even make you number 1 in the NHL. It would just make you maybe number 1 in the division.
This is how you look at it. The Oilers started the season 3-6.
Yeah,
They are now 13-8. That's a hot team.
Yeah, they caught fire.
And what's going to happen when the Leafs, one day when they hit a little turbulence, once the injury bug reaches up with them?
The injury bug has been plaguing this team all fucking year. I don't know if you've noticed.
But like their top people. What if someone big gets injured?
They have been. Oh, are you talking like a Matthews Marner?
Yeah.
I mean, Matthews has been playing hurt all season long. And I don't know if you checked the goals this year, but he's leading the league.
Have you checked the points stats?
Yeah. Pretty good for a team that's
anyway,
second.
we don't have to talk hockey and bore people with hockey here. I just want people to respect the Oilers and stop acting like the Leafs are some all-star team.
They're the best
it. That's all I want.
in the NHL.
Okay, but we'll see. The best team in the NHL wins the Stanley Cup.
It can't be. We'll see. We're seeing it currently, live, right now. They're the best team in the
best. They have the most points in the NHL. No one knows if they're the best yet.
I mean, why keep track of points and have a scoring system that shows who's the best if you're not going to believe it?
It's the most points. It's not the best. Who knows what's the best?
Okay, so I'll just call them the number one team in the league since that's the number that's beside them.
Yes.
That's okay.
Okay.
Cool.
You can call them that. The current number one. My cat's scratching at the door. I got to let her out. Hold on.
Do your thing. I'll buy some time. Can you guys believe that Carlin Burton is that fucking dumb? He can't hear me. He took his headphones off. It's the perfect time for me to talk shit. Oilers suck. They suck, man. They're so bad. Perfect.
What?
He's back.
Hey.
You know who's a big Leaf fan?
Who?
Mike
Myers.
Jim Carrey.
Is he actually?
Huge Leaf guy.
All right.
I don't know if he is. This is just my horrible segue into leading into this story that I totally forgot about. And I had a Facebook memory come up the other day showing me the time that I spent at Jim Carrey's cottage.
Did you spend it with Jim Carrey?
He was not there, no. Does that make the story less cool? Immediately, yes.
Maybe in the long run, no. How did you get his cottage? Does he rent it out, or were you just someone who knows someone?
So my friend in high school, Jim Carrey is her great uncle.
Okay.
And he has this fucking crazy cottage. I would call it like a cottage complex because there's a cottage and then there's a guest house and then there's like acres of land and his own lake that he dug up. It's a man-made lake that he filled with fish, and like there is absolutely no one around him. It's entirely private. And
so he didn't buy some land on a lake. He bought some land and made a lake.
Yes, like because Jim Carrey's got fuck money.
That is pimp.
It is. It's the definition of pimp.
Yeah.
So a couple times a year, he like gives his family, an extended family, obviously like great uncle, a few weekends to go up there. And sometimes they have to do it all together. Sometimes each family gets their own weekend. But we got to the age where she was able to bring friends. And for some reason, I got to be one of those friends. And it's the coolest fucking place I've ever been in my entire life.
How long ago was this?
I was in grade 12.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It was wild, man. Like, and he has one of the things that no one else was geeking out about, which I found very strange, because everyone, like, you're at this baller cottage, you're in grade 12, you're getting hammered, right? There's photo albums. So you can see, like, Jim Carrey's life growing up, which was fucking cool.
He has them on display, or is it just something that he keeps there? Is it his home, like his home? Like he's got all his crap there, and he just lets people come up and rummage through his crap, clearly?
I mean, that's what's so strange, is, like, there's some personal items. There's some photos on the wall, and I think there's, like, one photo album. Because primarily, I'm thinking Jim Carrey didn't think, hey, a bunch of grade 12s are going to use this place as like a banging spot.
Soil the beds.
Yeah. I don't think that's what he intended it for. But yeah, so like you would look around, you're like, there's Jim when he's little and like all these family photos and stuff. And it was really cool. And one thing that he did is in most of the bathrooms, he had the same wallpaper, which was like really foresty looking. and he drew little Waldos like hidden in the wallpaper, like a Where's Waldo.
He did it probably when you're on the toilet and you're bored, you have something to do. He's
Yes.
a creative guy. He does a lot of painting, doesn't he?
He's like a super talented artist. But I was like, what a very Jim Carrey type thing to do. Like,
Yeah.
if you're able to show your personality through like one simple act, I was like, that has to be it.
Yeah. That's cool. And you got to do that more than once?
Yeah, I got to go up twice. The second time I was only up there for like 2 nights. But he's got a fire truck up there. He's got like multiple vehicles you can whip around in. He's got like ATVs. I unfortunately broke his rowboat.
How do you break a rowboat? Like you broke the paddle?
Yeah, I got really into rowing. Like, like how you would go to like Central Park and like row your
Yeah.
around. He has like one of those. And I was like, man, this is fucking fun. Like I am ripping around. And then I jammed it into the side of the boat, cracked the oar in half because I guess I'm strong as shit. And
Dicking
all I
around
could
too
think
much.
was like Avery was the niece, the great niece or whatever of Jim Carrey. Was like, Ave, please don't tell your mom because I want to come back here so bad.
And the funny thing is, no matter how much money you have, when someone ruins something of yours, it's like, what the shit? Like, I don't want to have to buy another rowboat because some dumb 17-year-old did something to it.
Yeah, and he's like not gonna know until he gets up there one day, and he's
Goes
like,
for a
"Fuck,
romantic row.
my cat is going bonkers. Are you seeing this?"
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah,
distracting. Our
he's
cats have
only on one.
both distracted this podcast.
It's what they do. It's cats. But anyway, yeah, the Jim Carrey cottage was like next level wild. The cottage has like 4 different patios, hot tub, man-made lake. The guest house has like this crazy life-size alien floating in a tube. It was so fucking trippy to be there, and I completely forgot that it happened until a Facebook memory. Thank you for
Yeah.
one thing, Facebook.
I kind of want to book a cottage just so I have something to look forward to. I did that with camping actually. You got to book a campsite. People want to get out of the house so bad. You got to book a campsite 5 months in advance right now. That's like they open up reservations 5 months in advance. So I'm going on a camping trip to the Pinery with Waylon this summer, and
Nice.
it was on a Sunday. It was the Sunday after Valentine's Day, and I woke up so hungover on like a wine hangover, and I had to get up at 6:45 because at 7 o'clock the reservations open for the weekend that we were gonna go on, and I didn't actually get the campsite that I wanted, but I did end up getting one, and within 3 minutes the whole campsite was completely reserved.
Oh, it's fucking insane. I tried to book like Bruce Peninsula campsite with my girlfriend last summer. And because everyone realized kind of, I guess what we're still realizing right now is like camping is going to be one of the only excursions that is pandemic friendly.
Yeah.
Everything was booked within minutes and I was up for it. Like I was fully like wiping the sleep out of my eyes, just waiting to get anything. And we couldn't get a single site. It was insane.
Really? Yeah. Well, yeah, and now I can't wait for 5 months from now. It's gonna be nice. Hopefully they have That's the worst thing about the pandemic is I went camping last year, and they didn't have the showers up. So you're camping, and camping's obviously gross enough, but
Hmm.
I like having a shower every single day. So you have to go 3 days without showering, and you're camping and at the campfire smelling like smoke. It was the grossest I've ever felt.
It sounds like you don't like camping.
No, I love camping, but you don't have to be dirty to be camping. Like you can have a shower every single night and feel clean and go to bed. There's nothing wrong with that.
Take
Well,
your
you're one of the
take your herbal essences, go out to the lake and start scrubbing, buddy.
you're not allowed to do that actually.
Whoa, whoops. I'm sorry that I'm the reason that the lake water isn't drinking safe, because I've been
Yeah.
doing it.
Well, I think it's got to do with the wildlife and the vegetation. They don't want to kill it with chemicals.
I would agree with you that that is a horrible idea looking back on it, but did I do it growing up? Every single time. Do you do you have like a mild connection to fame, like the Jim Carrey thing? Like I'm separated from Jim Carrey by like 90 different levels of friendship.
The problem is that I grew up in Edmonton, Alberta, and there's not a lot of famous people from or living in Edmonton, Alberta.
Nathan Fillion, maybe?
Is he from Edmonton?
I think he's from Edmonton.
Michael J. Fox is, but no. Now that I think of it, I got no fame in my family. Do I have any friends?
I mean, I don't have fame in my family either. It's like my ex-girlfriend's friend's great uncle.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I do actually. Other than like we meet bands once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Fun fact about Jim Carrey's brother, much different life than Jim. His name's John Carrey. Great guy. He was a Zamboni driver at my local rink.
Actually,
Yep.
that is a cool job. The old rink rat. You got to be a certain level of greasy to be a rink rat in a small town.
John
Was he
Carrey looks
greasy?
exactly like you would picture a Zamboni driver to look.
I remember the one where I grew up was such a dirtball.
Apparently, though, like Jim bought him a house, so he was just like, whatever.
I
This
will I
is
will be a Zamboni driver, yeah.
yeah. That's the easiest job in the world, and you get to be around the game that you love.
Very true. I wonder what the hours would be like though. They'd probably be crappy. It'd just be cool knowing how to drive a Zamboni.
That's one of those jobs as a kid, you'd be like, that is what I want to do when I grow up. And as an
Yeah.
adult, you're like, I would probably love to do anything else.
Yeah. It would be like mowing grass when you think about it.
It is. It's exactly what it is. It's like,
Yeah.
or like you're a snow plow.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder what if they get paid well. Like I wonder if the Leafs, how much those guys get paid to do that.
It's the only thing that separates it from being not a snowplow and not mowing the lawn is a bit of an audience every time that you do it.
Yeah. Yeah, you are putting on a show. Which by the way, didn't you tell me you're thinking about doing Cameo?
I will fully come out here and say that I applied to be on Cameo.
You you applied to be on Cameo?
Yeah.
If they get back to you and refuse you, that's gonna be humiliating. That's like one of the saddest moments in my life was when I I reached out to Twitter to get verified. You know how you can apply to get verified, and I got that email back that's like, "Oh, you're not getting verified." And in that moment, I'm like, "What am I doing? Why do I care about getting verified in Twitter? And how sad is it that I didn't get verified?"
You know how many times I've applied to be verified and haven't gotten
Okay.
it?
Yeah, it's a sad email to get, isn't it?
It's Instagram doesn't even give you an email. They just give you a notification like, yeah, still no.
That's gonna be a no for the 100th time.
We were actually hanging out at your place watching the Leafs beat the Oilers a couple
That never
Christmases ago. It did. Matt
Never
Hart
happened.
threw socks into your mouth.
That never happened either.
It's
I'm
true.
sick
That
of him bringing that up, saying it happened. He took my socks off. He didn't get them in my mouth though.
it's I can
What type of a weirdo
I can
takes someone's socks
confirm.
off?
I can
He
confirm.
did not. And
There was
stop.
no sock. There was no sock penetrating your mouth. Did he
No.
try? Yes. Did it
He
work?
might have, but he can't get past these pythons.
But yeah, I mean, look at Carlin, Hurt, and Burton over here. The guy is fucking juiced. But Josie was like, "Oh, this is how you apply to be verified on Instagram. I'm verified," and I'm like, "You're verified because like you were on TV and you're like a fucking very prominent radio host." But yeah, I guess I'll give it a go. There's people with less followers than me, which I don't get, that are verified, and I tried it, and they said no, and then I kept trying, probably like 4 times a year since.
I want to try right now, just because it would be funny if there's
You'll
no way
get
I'm getting
I
verified.
will
Yeah.
fucking jump off my balcony into the streets of Liberty Village screaming.
How do you do it? You obviously go into settings.
You go to settings, then you go to account, and then you go to request verification. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And from there, you like have to give like a piece of ID, and
I'll do it later then.
yeah, it's a bit of a process.
You know the whole thing though.
I know it.
What happened with
times?
What happened with Cameo?
I started thinking to myself, because I saw like a low-level radio host, like lower than me, which is hard to do.
Yeah,
Uh,
who is lower than
right?
us? Yeah,
Like you would think there can't be. But I
no,
saw a low-level radio host be like, "Yo, I'm on Cameo for only $20. You can book a video." And I was
only
like,
$20.
"Whoa, $20 for you? Like, are you fucking kidding me?" And then I started thinking, I was doing these videos for free at the start of the pandemic last year because I was like, and the off chance your friend or family member likes what I do, I'm willing to try to like give anybody a slice of happiness. I will do a Cameo video for free and I'll send it to you through Instagram. Just DM me.
I like how you keep saying for free as if they're worth something.
Well, I mean, fuck, I don't know. I was just trying to be
They're not. They're not.
I mean, they could be worth $20 if Cameo gets back to me.
Is that what your price is gonna be? Your price point's $20?
I would set it at 10 and then I would donate all of the money to charity. That's the plan. Like you said, it's
Yeah.
so low that people think that it's kind of worth it, even though like I was doing it for free and would do it for free.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so like they're like, usually we get back to you in 5 days. Let's just say Cameo's taking their sweet ass time getting back to me.
It's been 100 days.
It's been at least 2 weeks.
Wow.
To the point that I forgot that I had done it until I had seen like a pop-up be like, you should book this person on Cameo. I was like, wait a second. Aren't I on there?
Yeah, I will buy you. I will buy you for sure.
What do you want me to
Cameo.
say? The Oilers.
I don't know. Can you? Is that how Cameo works? You get them to say whatever you want. I guess it does because Zach Cassian got in trouble for saying that he likes the Flames or something.
Yeah, I'm very surprised he did that for like $40.
I feel like he's an easygoing guy and he would just think whatever. But at the same time, it was a bad judgment call for sure.
Well, I mean, all you have to do is just phrase it better too. Just be like,
yeah.
"Hey, your dumb friend wanted me to say," and then send it to them. And then if they don't want to pay for that, they don't have to. But I'd be like, "That's the best I would give you." Like, I'm not about to say, "Go Flames! They're a really good team." So it's hard to imagine why you don't like them. Go Flames!
Yeah, it was not. He did not have to do it like that.
It's a bad look. That like he literally showed all of his teammates the price tag on his loyalty to the team. It's like $40 Canadian.
Yeah, that's not a good look. I wonder if there's any Flames on there.
We need what we should do for the podcast is pool together like $100 and get each other the stupidest Cameo for each other possible.
I wonder who it would be. There are some dumb ones on there though.
I bought a Cameo, $100 Cameo. Sam Richardson, he's from Veep. He's in the show Detroiters. He's in that show I Think You Should Leave.
Sam Richardson?
Yeah, his name's Sam Richardson. You might know him if you saw him. We were supposed to go, me and two buddies were supposed to go to Florida for a Leaf game last year. And then one dude was kind of getting cold feet. And if you listen to the podcast, the first one, it's the one that Carlin said he looked like a guy from Love Island. Yes. It's that friend. And he started to get cold feet, and we were like, fuck, man, are you serious? We need to bring in some big guns to convince him to come on this trip. So I spent $100 on a Cameo from this guy that we all think is funny to call him by his nickname and say, you should go get drunk with your friends in Florida.
That is a very bad use of money.
Yeah, it was because he didn't even go.
$100? He didn't even go after that?
No, he was like, oh, man, that's crazy. Cool.
Yeah, you have to go out. You should have billed him for it. Like sent him an invoice, been like, here's $100. We did this so you would come on the trip. You're not even coming now. So you owe me $100 for doing that.
Honestly, exactly what we should have done. I'd use Cameo, or like, do you know what Memo is? It's like the Canadian equivalent of Cameo.
No.
It's the exact same thing, but it's a lot of sports broadcasters. And I have an online hockey team called the Wet Basements. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And we went on a bit of a cooler in the playoffs. We lost like 10 straight games, and morale in the locker room, the virtual locker room, is getting pretty bad. We're getting a little heated with each other. And I was like, what can I do to turn this ship around? Ray Ferraro is only $40 on Memo. He happens to also be the voice in the video game.
Oh,
So
nice.
I booked him to say all of our nicknames, to say like, "Let's go, boys! You'll get them next time." Like the playoffs are coming up. Like
What a team player. You should be wearing the C on that team for a
I,
move like
I,
that.
I got an A. I got an
Yeah,
A.
you
But
got an A?
I got an A. But it was hilarious watching the fucking group chat light up when everybody realized like Ray Ferraro had said their name. And he fully like ripped us too. He's like, "You guys are probably losing to 10-year-olds."
That's you have to explain your E team. You have like an esports team.
Yeah, it's NHL 21, and you can do this thing where each of you only plays one position, so you're really like an actual team. But you all have headsets on and you're talking to each other the whole time. It sounds super nerdy, and it is. Like it's so lame, but it's also the most fun that I've had throughout the pandemic.
Oh yeah, I get it because we play Fortnite sometimes and it's actually like a social it's something social to do because you don't get to hang out with your friends and even like having a Zoom call with your friends, it's not the most fun thing in the entire world unless you're drinking a bunch of liquor. But when you're playing online gaming, it's like you're actually hanging out with them and doing something. Which, by the way, if you have time after this, we should play some Fortnite.
Oh, I'm good to go for sure. Where are we dropping? No,
Hunter's Haven.
you raise a good point because like a Zoom call seems like, hey, I know that we haven't hung out and we can't hang out, so it kind of feels forced, even though like
Hmm.
it's not. Video games is just like let's fuck around, and you end up talking about shit, way more stuff than you would on a Zoom call, I think.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of fun. You should. Speaking of your online video game team, that one time where you got so scared that someone from your team heard something. Can you
Oh my
talk about
God,
that?
I
'Cause
can't
he-
talk about it.
yeah, you can. He
I
doesn't listen to the podcast.
He does listen to the podcast, and we're gonna have to cut all of this because you brought it up.
Just make something up.
I can't. I
We're
can't
not
do it.
cutting. We're not cutting anything.
We can't do it.
Okay, that's fine. But anyway, your esports team.
Mm.
Do you guys like what happens? You play a regular season and then go into the playoffs?
Yeah, it's like I think you got like 25 days of regular season, and then you qualify for the playoffs. And not to toot our own horn or anything here, but we are a Division One team.
And that
And
means nothing to anyone listening right now.
Division One is the best that you can play in this video game. So we're going up against the stiffest competition ever. The thing is, we are not like we are the bottom tier of the best. So we're like we barely get in, and then we usually get our fucking asses handed to us playing the best teams over and over and over. The first time we did playoffs, I think we got 9 wins and 35 losses or something. It was crazy.
You know what? You play against the best, and that's how you get better.
And we did second playoffs. We had a winning record, which was nuts. And also, like, our team is all over the place. Like, some of these people have only seen each other in person twice. Like, it's a ragtag group of guys that have come together throughout the pandemic and like have become friends because of this game. And it's not like 5 20-year-olds who only play this game and have no adult responsibilities. Like, we're playing after a day's fucking work, man.
Yeah. You guys are, this is like some quality time you're spending with each other.
We had a weekend where we went to one of the dudes on the team's houses, and we all brought a TV, and there was 5 TVs in this dude's living room, and we were all playing like we had a LAN party. We all played together for 2 days straight. It was fucking crazy. We're playing video games for like 7 to 8 hours in a row.
That sounds like a terrible weekend.
It was the best weekend that I had all year, other than like
Unless
being
you're
in
like
Vancouver.
you were partying at night, you weren't like playing until midnight and going to bed.
We would party, and then all of a sudden at like 1 a.m. we'd be like, it's a good time to start playing again. And we'd get crushed because we're hammered.
Yeah.
I remember looking at the screen, shaking my head, trying to see because I couldn't. I was like, everything is fucked. I had a bunch
Yeah.
of edibles. I'm hammered. It was a mess.
Interesting though. Yeah, I don't think I would do any good on your team. That is one game I am no good at. When we play, you're not allowed to poke check or body check me, and that's how it still doesn't make it even at all, but it makes it a little more competitive.
It's just like the Leafs and Oilers.
No, it's not like the Leafs and Oilers. You like the Oilers and the Leafs, but the Leafs are the lower one.
Oh, good one. What a creative retort. No. It's like the opposite of what you said.
I'm tired. We're doing this in the morning, and I drank yesterday, so I'm all hungover.
I was up at 5:15 doing your show.
Yeah, that's a good point. How has the morning show been going, by the way? Brent's been doing the morning show on ND88 all week.
It's fun, man. Like I forgot what it feels like talking to a host on air because I haven't done it in so long.
I love doing radio with another person. Like I like doing it by myself, doing my own show too. But after doing a morning show for so many years, I much prefer working with other people, and it's nice having other people in the studio too because there's so much not downtime, but there's so much time you're not talking, and you can just be hanging out with people, talking and having fun instead of sitting there by yourself. Like some of those weekend shifts we used to do that were 6 hours long.
God,
those were some long days. People, you say a 6 hour on-air shift, and it doesn't seem like it's that long because everyone works 8 hours, but you do like a couple hours prep before. But it's one of those situations where you don't get a break. Like if you have an 8 hour work day, you're taking a 15-minute break and you're taking an hour lunch. But if you have to be focused for 6 hours, and it gets exhausting after a while.
and
Not that it's a hard job. Not that it's a hard job.
It's a hard job in a different way, though. Like,
Yeah.
It is a hard job to be on for 6 hours. And when
Yeah.
we are doing weekends, we are early 20s, obviously going in hungover every weekend. That's our fault. I'm fully aware.
There was a year stretch there where I don't think I did a Saturday or Sunday show not hungover, which is terrible because I am the person with good work ethic,
Yeah.
and I take it really serious. And when I first started in radio, I wouldn't even drink and be hungover ever and go into work. But this was probably 7 years into my career, and I was just starting dating someone. So you know how you're always just like drinking and having fun on the weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not good.
I remember I used to write out every break that I was doing, every break before I did it. And I remember you over my shoulder because you used to be on before me and then I would go on after on weekends. And I remember you were like, what are you doing? Like, why are you here so early? I was like, oh, I'm just doing my prep. And you were like, are you writing out every break? And
you
I
would
was
write
like,
out
yeah.
every break before your show started?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I've
never
you
heard of
looked at me
anyone
and
doing that.
you're like, oh, holy shit, you are new because that habit's going to stop in like a year. And I was like, I'll never stop doing this. And I go in half the time, let's just say not as prepared.
Yeah. Well, there is no scarier feeling in the world than a break coming up. Like maybe you're 2 minutes out and not knowing what you're going to talk about. And it's happened to everyone. No one's going to admit it, but you've had that thing where it's like, I don't know what I'm going to do and I have to go on right now.
And there's a lot of times I'm sure I've been in this situation where I'm like, this is going to go for this many breaks. This is going to go for this many breaks. Like I have a phoner topic that's probably like 4 or 5. No calls. You're like, shit, that was my show today. I really like, not that I wasn't prepared. It's like I was prepared for this to be an ongoing conversation. I knew both sides of what I was going to talk about. And then it doesn't. And you're like, oh, dear God.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one where you got to, I don't know what you do. Some people would call a friend. Because usually if you get one phone on air, then more people start calling.
Yeah, exactly. It starts to roll a little bit more. But having a conversation with on air, like just having Josie rather than talking to myself, it allows every story to breathe a little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
And you tell it, like, I really think that the way that I speak right now is the way that my show is, you know? Like, I don't think I have a crazy radio voice, and I think that I talk to the listener the way that I talk to you, like, other than swears and stuff. But it allows you to, like, really get to the bottom of a story, and for someone else to keep it moving rather than you telling more of it yourself.
When you have someone laughing at your story or laughing at something you said, it changes the dynamic of the conversation. Like when you're doing a show by yourself, you're literally talking to the wall.
Yes.
And if you think, or if you say something that you may think is funny, there's not someone there that's going to laugh edits. So you just have to like it changes the dynamic of it, obviously.
You can snicker at your own shit all you want, but it's not a real laugh and it doesn't feel good. And also
No.
one of my biggest pet peeves, like I'll fully admit that sometimes I do things come out of my mouth that are so stupid that it makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Just like dumb phrases, and I'm like, why did I say that? Like as I'm doing it, that it'll make me laugh. But I try not to be the guy that says something and then cheesily laughs at my own jokes. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we got more from Sia coming up after this.
Yeah. Yeah, that is an annoying one.
Hey, Carlin, 90% of people stop doing this in the office. We'll tell you after Kesha's TikTok.
Yeah, that's just like fake radio-iness, though.
I know. It hurts my heart to hear it.
Yeah. It's with the phoner thing, it's a lot better when working in somewhere like Toronto when you do throw the phone number out and people actually call back. When you're working in like a where I worked in Bonnyville, or I would even imagine Barrie to a certain degree. Have you ever like just done a contest and no one calls?
Dude.
That's like a deflating feeling.
What were the prizes like at the station you worked at in Bonnyville?
I don't know, but you all every radio station you work at, you have your certain callers who call in about prizes all the time. But there are certain times that those people aren't listening, and maybe you don't even get a caller for it. Not that it matters, because we don't really go on air and announce who the winner was, because no one really gives a shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are like the worst is if you have a contest and there's a prize for that contest, and I'll use the 30-second song challenge as an example, although we always get callers for that. But if I were to play that in a smaller radio station, there would be days we would just not get a caller.
Yeah.
And it almost feels embarrassing having to go on and beg someone to call in, or just rolling through it. No one probably notices when you just don't do it, but you feel like people notice.
Yeah, it exactly that. It feels like it feels like no one is listening to your show. You know that people are and they're just not calling, but when you throw out the phone number for a contest or for a topic and you don't get a single call, you're like, no one's listening to my show, not a single person, and I'm the worst host that exists.
What am I doing?
Not a single person decided that they would want to talk to me because I'm so bad at my job.
Yeah, and you get in your head. I never knew. It's funny we keep bringing it back to hockey, but they always talk about, oh, this person, their confidence is gone in hockey, and I never understood how important confidence was when it comes to performing. Like when you have a performance-based thing, how important confidence is, because there are days where like something happens. Maybe you have a really bad break. Maybe you get a negative comment online. Maybe, I don't know, something cringy happens to you before your show, and you just feel like your confidence is completely gone. And then it's so hard to fake it. And I get it when they talk about like someone's in a scoring slump in the NHL, and they're like, it's between their ears. It's 100% that, because when your confidence is gone, it's impossible.
Yeah, this job it relies on you understanding that you have to believe that you're good at your job. You have to believe in the moment that you're talking that this story is worth thousands of people hearing, you know? Like it's not a cockiness, it is a level of confidence you have to have in order to be a radio host. If you don't believe that people want to hear your story, then they're not going to want to hear the way that you're telling the story.
Yeah.
And
well, you got to put yourself out there.
It is a thing too. Like you'll have a day where you're like, okay, this break is going to be good. I'm so excited. You fuck up the last word of it. It was all good, and then you're out. You like on Indy 88, and you're like, cool, that's it. Bye. I'm leaving now.
Well, sometimes you just say something stupid, and you feel like everyone heard it, and everyone thinks you're a loser now.
And no one's thinking about it at all, or didn't pay attention even a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a funny job in that sense. That's like, so I do, we've talked about it a couple times that I do voice acting on the side a little bit. And some of these sessions, some of them are like two people. So you have a producer and maybe the clients on the phone listening to you do your voice session. And when I say a voice session, you're recording a commercial. So, like I'm doing one for Toyota tomorrow. But something I didn't realize when I was getting into it. Yeah, little brand drop.
That's a big old account. Hey, Toyota, if you're listening, hook this guy with a fucking vehicle.
But something I didn't realize when you get into it is when we voice radio commercials at Indie 88, it's you in the voice booth, and there's a producer who's recording it for you. When you do it for these guys in a professional setting, it's you, there's a producer, and then there's also a copywriter. There's people, I don't even know what they do sometimes. Like I did one the other day, and I honestly didn't know what the one guy, where he was from. And then there's also oftentimes the client. So there's like 4 people watching or listening to you do your vocal takes and then critiquing them and giving you
instant
guidance
feedback
or direction or feedback on it. And sometimes I had one that just went sideways. It was so bad. I went home after and I just sat on my couch in the dark. Have you ever felt that defeated?
Yes.
Like I couldn't, it was horrible. And it was one line, and I was voicing it with another person in the same booth. This was probably like a year and a half ago, and she was another radio host from Toronto too. And we were doing lines back and forth. I don't want to say it.
Come on.
It's not someone like it was Andrea
They don't
Collins.
matter.
No, it's not that they don't matter. It's that they're never going to listen to this. But it was Andrea Collins from... Like, I haven't talked to her since. I don't have a relationship with her. So
yeah, I get it.
I feel weird that I'm name dropping that. But I was going back, and we were going back and forth, and I could not get the line how they wanted it. They were just like, it's okay, but can we just do a little more excited? And I kept trying to, like, do more excited. And it was a goddamn train wreck. It was like it took 3 hours to do. I was doing one line, and I did it like 100 times, and it was a fucking disaster.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What,
and
so,
I don't even think I got it in the end.
That's
either.
what I was just about to say. Did you?
I think the guy was just like, okay, you know what? I remember what he said. He said, "It's good." Or let me just think about how he exactly worded it. He said,
"Good enough, please leave."
No, he said it's good, but it's the best that we're gonna get out of Carlin.
He said, like,
"Oh my god,
that's fucking." Well, you're not supposed to hear what he said.
No, you are supposed to hear what he said.
That's
but this
the
was
best
like
we're gonna get out of Carlin. He
Yeah.
heard in his headphones. Like, that's a crazy sentence.
Yeah, so I just went home and I had to. It took a while to shake that one off.
It's so funny because I know that moment, exactly what you're talking about. Coming home, you don't want to hear anything. You just need to sit and stew in this awful moment that happened that you're embarrassed by.
You don't even want to talk about it. And that's all it is. It's humiliating. It's embarrassing. And yeah, I haven't been invited back to work at that studio since. But I haven't had an experience like that otherwise. Like usually I do it and I can do it, but for some reason I got stuck on that one. And the shitty thing about voicing commercials is it's always best on the first take, and it gets worse every take after that. Mm-hmm. So if you do it 50 times, it's just terrible.
You've lost the allure immediately.
Yeah.
Especially after like take 10. I did my new demo with my girlfriend's parents. They are voice actors. They have their own company. That's like what they do for a living. And working with her dad is very easy because I have a very good relationship with him. But I have a very good like friend relationship with him, like personal relationship. I don't know about our business relationship, mm-hmm. Or like an industry relationship. So I can't see him. It's just his voice in my ears as I'm in this studio that he set me up with this producer. The guy ruled. He was super nice. He's like probably close to our age. But he would be like, okay, now like try this a little bit warmer, a little more with a smile, a little more friendly. And I go, okay. And then I do it again. And he was like, okay, try this. And I go, okay. And then he started going, okay. And he started fucking with me, like saying like, you sound like you're named Chad. You just keep going, okay. You sound like Pete Davidson in an SNL sketch. Okay. And I couldn't get it out of my head the entire time I was voicing anything, even though I know he was doing it as a joke to make me laugh.
Yeah, he was trying to lighten the mood, but he made it worse.
All I was thinking about is like I had to change the way that I spoke to him for the rest of the time. So he'd be like, do it this way. And I'd go, affirmative. Yes, sir. Like I was
saying
changing.
things you'd never say.
Yes, it was, and I would be reading the commercial, but thinking about okay, just in my head the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, well that's performing though. Like you gotta just nut up and do it, and you can get in your own head, but you just gotta silence those voices and think about it later.
Mad respect for actors, because I have been a part of a couple commercial shoots, and when there is a fucking camera in front of you, it is tough.
I don't know how those people do it.
It's
I couldn't do it in front of people or in front of a camera. Like it's one thing being in a studio by yourself and you have a microphone that you're talking into and people in your headphones. But if a director was like looking at you while you're performing these lines, it would be impossible.
it was I did a commercial for the government a couple of years ago. There was like 20 people watching me as they were filming me, and it was the most uncomfortable I've ever been in my entire life. But no doubt. No doubt.
What commercial?
It was for the Ontario Retirement
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
ORPP. And it was crazy. And the person that I was working with was this ancient woman, God bless her, but she didn't like prepare at all. And anything, it was supposed to be kind of like off the cuff, but also like we had a loose script we were following, like mental script, and she wasn't hitting any of her points. And she was throwing me fucking curveballs every scene. I'd be like, she would say something, and I would just look at the camera and be like, that's not what we discussed. And it'd be like, cut.
That makes it so much harder. Just write a script out if you're gonna record something or you have people acting, just write a script out. Don't get them to ad lib. Because
Yeah,
not everyone can.
this woman was like 70 years old and hadn't done a commercial in, I think, 15 years.
Wow.
So why are you getting her to improv with me, who was like 22 at the time, I think?
Yeah.
It was, I just remember like going up to the director after and just being like, I'm so sorry that this is taking so long. And he's like, oh man, like this is fine. This is the industry. I was like, if this is the industry, I don't know how people do this all the time.
No. Yeah, I don't know how acting would be a tough one. I would not want to do that.
Mad respect to all the actors out there.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be a real tough one. But yeah. Um, did you want to keep going or call her?
I think let's call her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mainly because
So-
I have to pee so bad.
Well, I think your audio's a little messed up. Like it's a little bit tinny. I apologize if anyone's listening and the audio's a little funny. We're trying to work out the bugs. For some reason, Zoom,
It's
my
still bad.
my audio's all cracky, and Skype, I think your audio's a little tinny. We'll see. We'll see what it sounds like.
What did the listener say to you? How are you guys both in radio, but the audio sounds like shit?
Yeah, something along those lines.
We don't know. Because
Yeah.
we're both, I swear we're both professionals and pretty good at production too, but for some reason.
When you have the internet involved, it just makes things funny.
Yeah, it's the internet's fault, and that's what we'll leave it on.
Exactly. But hey, if you want to play Fortnite, jump on there in a little bit.
Sounds good.
And if anyone has any questions, comments, leave them in the comments section or reach out to us on Twitter and Instagram. We love hearing feedback from anyone that spends the time with us.
Remember to follow us on SoundCloud. No, that's not a thing. What are we on? Spotify. Apple Music, and
Subscribe on
subscribe
YouTube.
to the YouTube. Yeah, hell yeah.
Wicked.
Peace.